and a very big aloha. And I am really happy and honored to have my friend Pam Tumpap. It's so good to see you, Pam. Pam's the director of the Chamber of Commerce. And how many years has it been? How
So
many?
it turns out it was really funny because it was actually this year that I realized this, and it was Amber Kutsos, we call her Chief Chamber Angel, who is our office
Yes.
manager at the chamber. She made 8 years this year,
Wow.
and it made me realize this is my 18th year.
Wow.
So it goes by fast.
It sure does when you think about it. My gosh. And a couple of different locations and work.
Yeah, we moved several times. As a chamber of commerce, many people don't think about it. We do some grants, but the grants we do for the county or others are really directed at providing services to the community, like the Maui County Festival and our Mayor Small Business Awards, which we're going to talk about, and our musicians grant to help local musicians. So it's not like we make, we do a little bit of stuff on those projects, but really the majority of the money goes to providing the service. So we're paid for by small businesses. And it's been through those 18 years. We had the Great Recession, we had COVID, and now we've had the wildfires, and our visitor industry is down, and many businesses are hurting. But we realized as we were coming into helping businesses out of the wildfires, where we saw a really downturn after COVID and the recession. We know how to do this. We've done it multiple times under my tenure. I think for the other chamber presidents who've served as long as I have, I don't think anybody's seen as many controversies. I think they've seen things, like 9/11, and I was at Maui United Way then, but we've seen other things. But there've just been short recovery blips in between.
And you've seen, what amazes me is the resilience
Yeah.
of some of these small businesses,
Yeah.
some of which I've been hearing some of their stories. Some of them come in, and some of them actually lost their business in the fire and have already started at another location,
Yes.
and are going again. And I get so impressed by that. Now, everyone takes that kind of tragedy in their own way. There's no way
Yes.
that one size does not fit all.
That's true.
This is
Yes.
all very, very, very trying in so many ways, emotionally, financially, and everything that you can think of as far as businesses. You've seen how many people have left the island, right?
We have.
So when I hear the good stories and good things going on, I love to share them. And you've seen some of that with the people you're so in touch with so many people.
We are. Yeah, well, the resiliency of one of the first things that we dealt with after the wildfires, because they happened in August, and as you point out, there, the thing that we dealt with first and foremost was, do we have the November Made in Maui County Festival?
Mm-hmm. I
And
remember.
so many of those companies had lost everything.
Yeah.
And then so many more of the local manufacturers that we work with had lost all their inventory because so much of their inventory was sold at the stores of other folks in Lahaina,
yes.
as well as other places. But Lahaina was such a visitor industry mecca that they lost a lot of inventory. And what was really beautiful was how everybody came together and said, whether we can be ready or not ready, move forward with the Made in Maui County Festival. Keep that going. They didn't want a blip. And we were so grateful that we had gotten that guidance, could plan early on, could keep the messaging going. And even though the visitor count was very low at that festival, the community came out in such a big way and rallied around and supported it, that not only were sales higher during the 11th annual, exceeding the 10th annual festival, the sales were so much higher last year. But the festival vendors, whether some of them had lost everything in the wildfires, but said, we'll be ready. So, and we had these little buttons that we also were selling for $1. We gave them all to the vendors and their team for free. And it was a button that says, it was a hibiscus, and just wanted to let people know, if you see this button, be pono, just malama Maui, care for Maui. Don't ask about the wildfires because they may not be ready to talk about it. But if you see the button and they do talk about it with you, then stay there. Listen, be there for them. If this is the moment that they're willing to share, then honor that and be there for them. And so many, I mean, literally, I can't think of a vendor who didn't report the outpouring of love, the great conversations they had, the interest in their business and how they were doing. It was really a tremendous festival. And so that was one of the first things that we did.
I have a question about that because
Yeah.
I've been trying to talk to, I talked to quite a few businesses, not near as many as you, but I've been talking to businesses who say that they're still down in visitors.
Yes.
I've had about 3 or 4 say they're down about 30%.
That's the number we get all the time.
Are you getting that too?
30%.
Yeah. So, and of course, you know, you hear that and you, in your mind try to figure out what happened. I think, you know, in my mind, I think, well, maybe some out of respect. But at the same time, I've seen the price of staying in hotels skyrocket, as you know.
Yes.
So the fact is that we're not necessarily competitive as we were in the past for a trip here.
Yeah.
And I think some people just went, well, you know, if I can't go to Lahaina, because a lot of first-time visitors want to go. I think if you've been here 2 or 3 times, that wouldn't be a factor. But if you were kind of a first-time visitor, Lahaina's a big part.
It's such a epicenter with so many things right there. It's restaurant, it's shopping, it's beach activities, right? You can
People would take a ship out there, boat from there, go see the whales.
You go on a tour, Atlanta submarines.
Yeah.
You also had smaller local businesses who would, give you a surfing lesson, right?
Yeah.
Or rent the boards or take you out on the board and give you a surfing lesson. So there were so many concentrated things in one area. And then, of course, there's a lot of history for those who love the history. And it was a play. And even if you did, and the beauty as we rebuild is there will be a focus also more on education as we rebuild and look at and share some of that other history. Excuse me, but it was a place where people generally for generations shared the aloha spirit. People will talk about they went to this restaurant, they stayed at this hotel, they were treated in a way that was so remarkable and different, and then they had all of these wonderful times together in a place. We have people from the SBA here right now. It was a congressional hearing this morning, and it's still going on currently, as I understand.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and I think it was sort of low key by invite people. They were gonna, hear the leaders were gonna hear specifically from certain groups and talk to them about where are we at this point. But I've been with a lot of the SBA team, and some of these people have traveled in many different places around the world, but this is their first time to Hawaii, and
Really?
they are just in awe. I mean,
Wow.
we stop frequently for picture taking, and it could be a picture of a tree, or it could be the mountain, but not just the mountain, open air, beautiful mountain picture, but through the lobby of the hotel. They're just, the minute they see it, it's like, wait, got to stop and take a picture. Yeah. So it has really reminded me over the last 2 days. I mean, we are so in love with our island and cherish our island, but it reminds me how first-time guests find not only our island but our culture so remarkable. And I think as a chamber, and because chambers of commerce are often the local visitors bureau in other areas, of course here in the state of Hawaii, each island has its own visitors bureau because our whole state benefits from the visitor industry, and of course some islands like us are very dependent on it. And we are the most dependent island on the visitor industry. And so, the things that we continue to hear is, yes, there are still a lot of people who, after early messaging, felt that both by leadership and the community. So corporations, if you have, and we saw this through COVID, and this happened with Governor Ige, and he said, this isn't a time to come. Well, large corporations, when you say this isn't a time to come by an elected official, that cancels contracts.
Yeah.
That cancels major contracts for things that might have been booked 6 months to a year and a half out.
Yeah.
So that cancels contracts. So there's devastation right away and things like that. This message was different. It was, give us time. We're not ready for you. We need time to grieve and heal. So people are trying to be very respectful.
Yeah.
They're sort of saying, and I don't know, there's a message we play within our community of we're ready, we're here, we're open. I don't know to what degree that's being shared broader, like nationally. But people are still questioning, is Maui ready? There was the travel group that has just come back, right, that you shared with us, and I was on their radio show last year, and they were floored. And many don't realize that because of what they continue to see and because so many images are continuing to be put up and show the devastation.
Especially after the anniversary, the first year was everywhere.
Yeah, it brought that all back again. Yeah. And what people don't know is that there's a stretch from this point to a point further out where there is, unmeasurable damage. Right.
And I think we've been seeing that to a degree. That's why I get so thrilled when I see some of these small businesses taking the initiative to go and start another business in Wailea or someplace, and still, some of them are thinking bigger and better. Some of them have that enthusiasm and belief so strong that they are starting businesses.
Some moved to Kihei, some moved to Paia, some are moving into Makua.
Yes.
We're seeing them across some are going in a new direction, as you say.
Yes, some are.
Or wanting to liken, some parts of Kihei, major business, visitor mecca as a place to go, like Lahaina had been. Others are going for more of that quaint town feel, like Makauau and Paia. Others are just any available space because, unfortunately, commercial rents have all gone up, just like our rental market.
I know. I'm kind of shocked, actually. I'm kind of shocked at. It's like, wow, rentals gone up. It's like, wow, really?
And considerably, particularly in those areas because there's high demand. Yeah, and it's very tough for these small businesses to do this. But many are really creating new success stories. They've also learned a lot about social media through all of this. They're doing things in a different way. We have starting tomorrow a special program. It's our pilot program, so I want to be clear. We will do it again if you're listening and you're not one of the businesses that were targeted for this. What we did was we are targeting our Made in Maui County Festival vendors to gear them up for this year's festival with a group from the California and Hawaii SCORE, which is a program under the SBA called Senior Corps of Retired Executives. Some of them university professors on websites and technology and online sales. And we're trying to help people tweak and, if needed, start from scratch, but tweak their websites to help them 2x or 3x their online sales and also better integrate online sales with the other sales they do every day, or in particularly at festivals like the Made in Maui County Festival, to help them come up with solutions and options to share that people can then go back to and buy online.
So that's, there's a lot of rethinking and revitalization.
Yes.
That I sense from what you're saying going on. But the first thing that goes behind that is the people's ability to have a strong belief and a positive state of mind, which is so important for any business. You can't expect to be successful in business if you don't have some positive energy going into that business.
You definitely, of course, we always want to see, and I'll share this story because my mother always laughs because she always says, I'm not an entrepreneur, and you are like, and people will say, from my daughter's friends to others, your superpower is you can take any idea and make it into business. And I go, not any idea, but I can help people think through things in a different way. And that's what entrepreneurship takes. But as you know, many small businesses fail.
Yeah.
And it's usually because sometimes, and David Daly, who's been on my radio show, Business Matters, who works for MEO, many people who go through his Core 4 class about how to start a business, it's a great class to go through to not only learn how to start a business and take your idea to the next level, but also realize that maybe if your idea is half-baked, You're not ready yet. And our goal is to say, prepare and get ready. Because while we're seeing so many of those deeply impacted by the wildfires restart, change, get SBA loans to help them pivot, get that low interest rate financing so that they can start moving forward, which gives them sort of an 18-month insurance policy. They don't have to start right away if they're not ready yet. There's ways to leverage that money in different ways that you could stretch it out for 18 months before you owe a payment, which is great, or any interest. But there's also people who are saying the visitor count where we started is still 30% down. Yeah. 30% is a huge impact on many businesses.
It is, yeah.
I was with somebody up country, a business owner, the other day, and they said, my lease is up and my numbers are down. And while financially I'm okay, I'm wondering whether I should renew my lease, because I'm going to have to renew it for 3 years or lose this long-term space I've had. But we're so down, and there is no in COVID, we saw the governor say, okay, can't jack up lease rents, and put, right. We haven't had that commercial protection this time, because it wasn't throughout the whole island. It was, Lahaina was devastated. Yet many people are trying to move from Lahaina to other areas, and the lease rents are high. So a lot of people are still uncertain.
Well, you know what I say, because I hear the same thing being in sales here as well. And there's no easy way to tell people this, but in a kind of understanding and persuasive way, I try to convey, maybe you shouldn't count on visitors for that business.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful community that if you invite them and have a reason to come, and it has to be affordable. I hate to say that some businesses had prices going at visitor prices, which was higher prices before.
Yeah.
But I have found for people who have businesses that invited the local people back in again,
yeah,
that they did see that beautiful response, because there's two reasons, I think. Number one, people want to support local people.
They do. They absolutely do.
And not only that, some of these people haven't been able to afford it. Things have gone up in price.
Yes.
As we all know, just go shopping.
Yes.
Go to the market, and you're like, that's like 30 or 40% more than it was. You see it and you feel it. And unfortunately, that kind of puts in that not only the fear, but the limitation consciousness.
Yeah.
Instead of abundance consciousness,
That's
which
right.
is really important to think abundantly for things to be successful.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, I had all this to pay, and it's like, oh my gosh, and this is my, a lot of the rents have gone sky high. You've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen it. My gosh.
Well, and
so
shipping
you gotta
and
everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So, but you can't go limitation in your mind, but you can expand the way you look at who your business
Your
focus
market
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of my favorite stories, and it was because I had been doing work in this years ago, and one of my favorite stories was during the Great Recession. Sherry Reeve, artist up country, Maui, who does beautiful watercolor work.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had focused on, people bought her paintings.
Yeah.
Right? And she had different sizes. There were different price points, but people bought her paintings. And when you have a recession like we had, and it was a long recession, right? And I just remember starting at the chamber, everything was great for a couple of years, and then boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it was long. But she did something that I had been helping other people start to do, but she had already done it in a very prolific way, was she productized her art. And what that means is from her art, where that's what you used to buy, which was the art, she put her art on note cards that could be affordable.
Yes.
She put her art on coffee mugs. She put her art on little trivets and coasters and placemats. And so she just kept productizing her art on these different products. Scarves, we have the Sherry scarves. T-shirts, we have the Sherry shirts. She just kept maximizing opportunities. And then as technology changed, printing has changed where you can put the art. There's different ways you can print your art. So, canvas was always a high way to print your art, and it was more expensive. And then you can print on high-end paper, or you can print on aluminum if you want the art outdoors that will last for years outside. So without having to worry about damage from the weather. So it's that understanding of the market. Yeah.
And I see this now, very much see this, when you go to your beautiful opportunity. I wish they would stop that. I'm sorry. I should have had this off. Sorry about that. Off goes my phone. That was me.
You're in high demand.
I am busted. It's like, no. Off goes that phone. I'm so sorry. But what happens is what we go is like, okay, now you go to that beautiful opportunity to support local businesses at that, and it's going to be what date this year? November
1st and 2nd.
Oh my
Friday
gosh!
It's coming up quick
wow,
this year.
The first, but it's actually on the very first day.
November 1st and 2nd. It's that first Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
So you go there, and I've seen this, and you've seen it because you're there.
Yeah.
The people go and they go, oh, well, this is affordable and this is beautiful, and I can afford that, right?
Yes.
But then how many times they spend a little time there while they're waiting or look at this, and all of a sudden they fall in love. Not everyone, but some fall in love with a piece that is more expensive.
Oh, yes.
That is bigger, that is, and then they go, wow, look at that. Oh, my gosh, and they fall in love. Yes. You got to fall in love with something to spend the money for, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then you see that happening. And so it works on two levels. It works on the volume, which is so important, but it also works on the fact that you're drawing someone into your product and the opportunity to see and experience something that is more expensive, but it's something that they really will love, And I see that, and I see the smart people at this. It's a great event when you have that big opportunity to sell to how many people go to that event?
Between 8 to 10,000. Yeah.
10,000 people looking at art and looking for any kind of thing. It could be maybe a T-shirt versus a very expensive jacket, or it could be but you get them with a smaller piece, and then you can get them drawn in and they get excited, and that's where the talent. And I think you teach some of but there's a natural. You can see some people who are natural at communicating and relating to the people who come their way, right?
Very much so.
And it's when you start talking to them, looking at them in the eye, and then they begin maybe talking about something else, and all of a sudden, you have someone who will remember. Maybe they'll be asking for the card. They want to maybe connect with you. They'll find your site, and then you can have a repeat customer, local or not local, So I've seen that, and I know you teach your people a lot about that. We
do a class every year to gear them up for the festival. And now, because this is going to be our 12th year, we realize some people have been with us throughout. It's a juried show. So even if you've been with us, you could be with us almost every year up to this year. And it's still a juried show. And we pick the best and the best of each category. And this year we had 50 new applicants. For the new companies, we talk to them about what it's like to be in a show this size, what we provide them with the tent and the chairs, that they can't go outside of that footprint, right, to be fair to all concerned. We give them examples of what extraordinary booths look like and to generate some thinking about what they can do. We give them examples about having diverse product opportunities, as you point out, so that if not everybody can afford something on the higher end, that they have some other things for them that they might love and also be able to afford, or love, as you say, or fall in love with the people. If they fall in love with the owners and the staff, then people are looking for something to buy. At that point, they're looking for a way to support them. Yeah. The other thing is that we have jewelry makers and others who are there, and there was it was a pricey necklace. I'll say I too went and was starting with earrings and ended up with a necklace that I had to have. So I had to splurge for a few months' budget to take out some activities. But also the jewelry makers there, I wanted it a little longer. I wanted to wear the necklace just a little bit longer. And so, she said, well, unfortunately, because I worked the show, I was catching her right at closing. So she said, for others, I've been able to do it right here on the spot. And she would have just amended the jewelry right there, and people could pick it up. they, walk around, continue to shop, and come back and get their jewelry, and maybe half an hour. But for me, she said, this is yours. I've got it all set for you. I paid for it, and she said, I'm gonna take it home and extended it. And when I got it back, it was really cute because I had different extender options with the way she had done it, which I really loved.
That's going above and beyond.
But they go, our vendors go above and beyond.
Yeah.
To provide service.
Yeah.
It's a show that everybody loves because they get to see, if you go in a jewelry store, the jewelry's behind glass. You have to say, could you please take that out? Yeah. You have to wait for them to do that. They go,
and a lot of those are not locally made.
No.
And sometimes you might think they are, but a lot of them are not. And when you go to your beautiful event that's locally made, you're very, very, very cautious and you make it very clear these have to be made in Maui.
Yeah, and there are some products that it's a juried show. We bring a team of Maui people to assess the different products, and we break them out into product category days. So we review all the products in the category together. So some days they're longer than others, like one category could take us all day. Yeah. And you might have 6 or 7 people there all day, and we serve them lunch. And then or you might have 2 product categories in the same day, but we go all day. Once we're started, we get going. And we question and we debate. And sometimes we'll say, hey, that's a really nice, they do T-shirts and they do hats, and we know those are locally made. And okay, they bring in this, but they engrave it. And, so we have debates on, is that enough engraving? Is that, was that enough printing?
Interesting.
What was it before? What is it now? I remember in the early days of manufacturing on Maui, we used to have debates about, and people actually challenged me on this multiple times at the state level, which I thought was hysterical, but CDs.
Oh, my
Because we don't manufacture CDs in Hawaii.
Yeah, but it's the music.
But it's the music.
Of course
it wouldn't have the value without the music.
And now you don't have the CDs anymore.
I used to debate that with people at the state level all the time. And I won eventually. I won every argument.
Yeah.
But so we still have, it's those kinds of things. But as technology changes.
Yeah, and it does.
As people can buy something in China and then embellish it, is that truly locally made or not? Yeah. And it's going to be unique to each product because we're looking at the evaluation. We're looking at how many times local hands touched each part of that product.
I know, but the saddest thing is when I think about the poor artists that used to sell in Lahaina, and I look at the art galleries and the people. There used to be that beautiful Lahaina location where every Saturday and Sunday you go to the band. Yeah, you go and you buy local product there.
Bought it every time I was in.
And now where do they go? It's so hard without that. So that's why it's so important. But I need to get on to this other subject, which also, I happen to love the Made in Maui.
We do.
But not only that. I happen to love local business, and I've watched this beautiful event that you put on grow and grow and grow and grow, and I can't believe it's just coming up in a couple of weeks, right? It's actually on a Thursday, isn't it?
It is. Well, I believe it is a Thursday. It's September 19th.
Yep, that's a Thursday.
And it's the annual Mayor's Small Business Awards. And so this, the Chamber of Commerce, we love honoring businesses. And it's not about whether you're a chamber member or not. The community was invited to nominate outstanding small businesses. And what we love through this process is getting to, you think you know a small business, but you see these applications come in and the glowing things that you learn, new things that they did, other ways they serve the community, the way they treat their staff. We learn so much about what makes them exceptional small businesses. And we have multiple categories each year. So there's a exceptional small business person of the year, and we honor that. And then we have an exceptional small business of the year with 10 or fewer employees, so very small company. Then we have 11 to 39 employees. And then we did have, but we started to do away with it because we never seemed to get the 40 to 100 employees. But
I was wondering about that. That's so funny because I was looking at it going, so you don't get a lot of entries.
We don't get entries in that category, and we haven't for several years. And I keep thinking, by SBA standards loosely, they also look at, profitability and all sorts of things, but 100 or fewer is the standard. So we also do use 100 or fewer for our outstanding nonprofit business because some of our nonprofits are rather large, and want to honor them. But the standard is generally that we have a young small business person, and then we have a lifetime achievement, and they have to have been in business, or the family has to have been in business for 20 years or more. And so we have some outstanding nominees. I'll share them.
Yeah.
In the exceptional small business 10 of the year, 10 or fewer, we have the Power Electric, Ellie's Bridal, Hawaii Golf Equipment and Supplies, Hawaiian Kingdom, Vitality Hawaii, and West Maui Sports. In the exceptional small businesses 11 to 39, we have Hana and Beyond, which is a tour company, Hawaii Pacific Solar, Maui Classic Charters. We have, in the outstanding nonprofit businesses, we have Pro Arts Inc., Taryn James Young Foundation, and the West Maui Improvement Foundation. In the Young Business Person of the Year, we have Bernardo O-A-O. I don't know how to say that correct. What do we think?
Oya?
Oya? I'm not sure.
not
so
either.
Please, I'm so sorry for butchering that. If I have, but I'm guessing. But we have Brittany C. Smith. And Bernardo is with the same name, Oyo Sushi. And then we have Brittany C. Smith, who's with Zen Smith, LLC. Justin Yanagita of Yanagita Fitness. We've known and worked with Justin over the years. Kama Holman, Ikaika Construction, Kapena Ao Maui Traffic Control Services. And then for the Lifetime Achievement Award, Valley Isle Excursions was nominated, and Nicole Hutaf Nakamura. So it is going to be exciting times. Now, here's what happens. It's like the Academy Awards for small businesses. And not only do we honor the small business, we also honor the nominator who chose to put this business forward.
I didn't know that.
Yes, because we want to honor the people who are honoring others. And making the time to complete this application, learn about them. And so we think that, that's always exciting. And everybody is honored. We were talking before the show of how we do a poster for every nominee with their picture or a picture of the team, whatever picture they submitted with the application. And we do a write-up. So during the cocktail reception hour, people can walk around and read through all these posters about each nominee. And
now, we haven't told people where this is. We probably should.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so this is going to be, that would be really important. And by the way, it's open to the public.
Yes.
So lots of family and friends come to support the nominees, but lots of business people come to hear these amazing stories, to learn about these businesses. And there's no self-nominations allowed, but friends, family, vendors, customers, the employees can nominate the business. So it's pretty broad. Tickets are available. It is going to be September 19th. If tickets are bought, we've got a few days at the early bird $90 per person price. Thereafter, it will be $110. And refunds, if needed, if something comes up in your family and you bought tickets early, can be made up till September 10th. In the categories that I just mentioned, the winners will not be known, like the Academy Awards, until that night. And you've been a former MC of this great event.
Yes.
And we've loved having you, and it's a
very, very great feeling, the love and the respect that people have. But did you tell them where it was?
Oh, I still haven't, have I? I really have. It's going to be at the King Kamehameha Golf Club Waikapu Ballroom.
And that's new this year, because before you were...
For the past few years, we kind of moved it around a little bit. For the past few years, it has been at the Maui Beach Hotel.
Right.
This year, we are going to be at the King Kamehameha Golf Club
lovely
Waikapu
lovely
which
location.
I used to call it, or was always told it was the Monroe House. It was Marilyn
that's
Monroe's
what everyone calls
house
it.
Design. Gorgeous setting, and we've got stars, and you'll see a lot of star decor, glitz and glam. but a fun night to just also celebrate and network with amazing businesses and business people.
And I like that you're starting it a little earlier for people who are working.
We are. We're starting it at 5:30, and it goes till 9 p.m.
Which is
and
good.
it's really over by 9 p.m. But we end with the awards, and we end with a lot of picture taking. Also, the mayor will be there, and we have a lot of picture taking with the mayor at the event.
September 19th?
September 19th.
Yep. And we want to invite people to go because, you know what? This has been an extremely hard year for business, as you well know, being in the Chamber of Commerce. We came off from COVID and went right into what was happening with the fire and a lot of people who couldn't find places to live in. It's a hard year. Yes. So I think it's good for your morale and support.
I agree. This is we didn't do this event last year. And it was because it was right after the wildfires.
Yes.
And also because so many amazing businesses were struggling.
Yeah.
And so many and it's an application that takes time. This also is we have a group of business people who go through every application, and it's a judged event where an awards are given. And everybody said it would be so hard. There's so many people who would be deserving, but not have friends and family would not have time to nominate them. They wouldn't, have time to think about it. And so last year, a decision was made that on this event, we needed to, it wasn't like anybody was, unlike the Mid-Maui County Festival, it wasn't like people needed it for their income or that it was going to give them that. And it was that people felt it was really important, but it was important to also wait at a time when it could be done right. Mm-hmm. And people could think about the nominations and work on the nominations and put businesses forward. So we're really excited to.
Are you emceeing?
No, and I'm not sure who is emceeing. To be honest with you, I haven't been handling. God bless Amber of my office. We call her Chief Chamber Angel, but her official title is Office Manager and Legislative Manager. She has been doing a lot of the event coordination on this. I just get to greet people and turn it over.
Because it's a huge event.
It's a huge event. It's a wonderful event, and it really is very celebratory. You know
what shocked me when I looked at this list? Now, of course I'm aware of the event. It's been going on, I don't know how many years, but it's been going on, it seems like as long as I can remember. But I was shocked
administrations.
How many businesses I didn't know.
That happens every year. And that's why it's so interesting for even the committee who reviews them sometimes, especially in this, it is a small business event.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of outstanding small businesses all across our county. And by the way, it is county-wide. People can nominate from Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. And the bankers the other thing is, when this got started, there's a little history. Mm-hmm. The history was that the former chamber president years ago, Lynn Woods, decided to do this. And I believe it was first done. I know I was there for the first one, but it was daytime, and I think it was combined with her annual installation luncheon that the chamber did. So I believe it was summertime. And they did these amazing awards. And then later, the awards were considered to be, that was such a cool idea that under Alan Arakawa's administration, we heard they wanted to do the same thing. And so Lynn went and said, we can't have two of the awards doing the same thing, but they wanted to be involved. And she said, well, why don't we call it, it'll be a chamber annual event, but why don't we call it the Mayor's Small Business Awards and have you with us give out these awards.
I never knew the history.
And so it goes way back. That's why I'll have to look up, but that's an excellent question. How many years that precede, because there was another short-term chamber president between Lynn and I as well. So I'll have to go back and see. But I was actually there, and then and I used to volunteer a lot with the chamber when I was working for other positions and locations in Maui. And so anyway, I'll have to go back and find it. But I'm gonna say probably over 20 years.
And so much has happened business-wise during that time. So much has happened business-wise to Maui, especially during this time, that things have changed so drastically that it's so important to, I realized just looking at this list, going, boy, I've kind of lost track of what's going on out there.
Yeah.
As far as the businesses, because you hear stories and you assume from the stories that that's the way it is, but there could be lots more that you're not hearing about. I find that out when we find businesses that are reopening that maybe have burnt down, or businesses that are in the process of that, or businesses that think this is the perfect time to start a business because now maybe they can start before and it's going to come back stronger than ever. So there's all kinds of interesting ways that we might not understand our business as a whole.
Yes.
And this is it really hit me when I saw this list. I'm going, boy, how come I don't know more about these people out there doing their businesses? It's not that large an island.
No,
it's
that's true. And I'll tell you this, because we kind of talked a little bit about challenges the businesses face and the resiliency and the optimism and the ability to look forward. Every story that we hear, there isn't a business who doesn't go through struggle.
That's true.
There isn't a single business that I've ever talked to that doesn't go through struggle. It's how they pre-planned for the struggle. It's how they led their leadership during the struggle. It's how they worked on their market research and looked at ways to pivot and come up with new solutions. And and then to hear the outcome of that hard work is always amazing, and it's always helpful to. You'll hear the chatter as people are leaving at night, going, "Wow, I didn't know that they did this. Wow, gosh, I wish we had thought of that." It's this thought-provoking experience in a fun way, or just even, one of the things that happened during the Great Recession, happened during COVID, and it certainly happened again with the wildfires, but in a much more devastating way because of the loss of life. But a lot of what we have to do as a chamber and as people in this community, when our businesses are hurting, is take the time to be there for them. Often they're so into their own business, and their business is struggling, and they feel like they're struggling alone. And they're not. And our job and what we do every day, not all day, we do other work. We are not full-time counselors, but we are full-time friends. And we are here to put our arms around people, to hear what's going on, to think through with them how we can help or other ideas, but also to remind them that this has been brutal and they are not alone. And to walk with them, sit in the space with them when they need somebody to just sit in the space with them, and to help them envision something different when they're ready to envision something different. But for a lot of people, even coming to an event like this, and when people tell their stories, particularly the Lifetime Achievement Award, who's talking about a 20-plus year history, you don't have 20-plus years without struggle. And you'll hear people in the audience go, "Oh, yeah. Remember that? Oh, wow. Yes, we went through that too." And so there's a lot of coming together over also shared stories, new ideas. It's really one of the most heartwarming things that we do. Honoring small business, having like the Made in Maui County Festival, showcasing small businesses at Hawaii on the Hill, or our annual summer celebration. Anything we can do to honor them, promote them.
And be inspired, by them.
Yeah.
I get inspired by them, and I get inspired by those people who have not been allowed themselves to be so brought down that they don't think they can go on. And it takes such strength of mind
does.
and character to pick yourself up in those situations and going, you know what? I can do this, and not only that, I can do this, and I know I can do it well. And I know business people, as you do, who have actually come back and done it better than they had it before. That learned it, going, well, this is an opportunity. Instead of thinking this is a disaster I can't recover from, I've seen some of these people saying this is a great opportunity to redo myself and to start over again.
We have had a lot of that, and I think one of the challenges in that for a lot of people I've been working with again is just they've come up with some really exceptional ideas. We're just struggling with limited space for them to get started and, affordable space for them to get started.
Well, that is surprising. I was surprised that, did you know, and I didn't know, but I was checking things, the cost of rental of space has gone up.
Oh, exponentially. Yeah, because we didn't protect it in this disaster like we did with during COVID. So, it has gone up exponentially, and that just makes it harder. Again, there are a lot of people. We're also seeing a lot of drivers and driving up their website presence. And again, the class that we're going to start tomorrow, which was offered to all our any past Made in Maui County Festival vendor or any manufacturer who registered on our list was invited to this class along with chamber members. And if it's successful and people have an interest that were not invited but are hearing about it and want to know, they can just call the chamber. We will do it again. We're just starting with a specific type of cohort, and the reason for that is to get those for the festival ready for the festival in time. And to leverage some of these marketing techniques for their ongoing sales as well. But we will do it again. But there's so many people ready to break out again. And some of it, I think some of the challenges we've seen where people maybe weren't just as ready, it wasn't because it was just, for many, a business devastation. It was a house, a life and family and business devastation. And that takes a little bit longer to come out of or think through because you're not able to fully focus on your business 100% like you might have done pre-fires. And so we're working with a lot of those folks. And the other thing we're working with is, and which is going to be in the report that was given this morning, is we've unlocked since April close to $5 million in small business loans through the SBA that were loans that were stuck. And many people said, it keeps getting lost. I don't want to apply again. They just don't seem to want to help me. And that's not true, but I get why it feels that way. The process, unfortunately, which wasn't well communicated to many people, is that you have to check your portal every couple of days. So some of what we found is people were actually given a loan, but they didn't check their portal.
Oh, my gosh.
And then because they didn't do anything and act on the loan, we had to resurrect it and start over and bring it back. But and those were the great cases because we solved those quickly. Like, okay, we can get you an extension. You just needed to do this one form. Others were much more complicated, and some of it took some work.
I remember going, and you invited me, and there were some others. It was only about 10 people.
Yeah, it was exactly 10 people. Yeah,
and you had them talk to you. You actually listened to the situation they were in.
Yeah,
some were heartbreaking.
Oh, it was terrible. I mean, we were all in tears.
Some was just like, and then some, it was like everything that, I guess, a reflection of what happened with everyone that went through the fire. Some people were very angry.
Yeah.
Some people were just heartbroken. Some people were so devastated they couldn't think straight. They couldn't decide what to do next or whether to continue. But it was very human. There's no doubt about that. And you could kind of see by sitting there. And I remember some of the people very clearly. You could see who was going to weather the storm, just kind of by their attitude.
It was really amazing. And many of them, so that session was directly with the top person of the SBA. Director Isabel Guzman was there. We brought her in to hear these stories because we'd previously done a listening session with the SBA district office from Honolulu, and we wanted her to hear how many people were saying, we don't want another loan. We already have a COVID loan. We still owe on that, and we've lost everything, and we still owe
Yes.
on that past loan.
Right.
So we don't want another loan. We want grants. And I think in the beginning with the wildfires, there was this feeling like a lot more grants are going to come down, and the
I
governor
think there
mentioned
was.
the grant.
Yes, I think you're right.
And then we found out that by the time the grants were distributed across the need, I mean, the funding the governor provided distributed across the need, which was over $12 million, but a lot of that people got like 12,500, which was helpful, but not enough to sort of long-term
To some
sustain
people,
the
a
organization.
drop in the bucket for a business.
That's right. It did not get us where we needed to go.
Yeah.
And now, and I was able to get an extension through the SBA to extend that EIDL application deadline for those who are still considering an EIDL loan. It would have expired in May. We now have till November 9th. And I'm suggesting extending it even further because new people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, well, I never applied. I'm still hoping for those grants. And now I realize that 4% interest loan over, that I can expand out 18 months as an insurance policy before I have to pay anything or even use the money would be helpful to try and get. So we're trying to encourage people to take advantage of the EIDL process. And even if you go through it and you get a loan and you decide you don't want to take it, then don't take it. Or 6 months from they told you could take it. If you suddenly go 2 days before the deadline, you know what? I want it. You can still take it. So that bought you another 6 months of no payments. And then if you then take it, you've got another 12 months of no interest, no payments.
It was so confusing because there was so much going on that a lot of people did not know how to navigate the information and understand it or understand how much it took to get there. I have to say thank you to Gary because Gary Forsberg just walked in as engineering here. And I know he works with you. You do a fabulous show. You do a show. I love your business matters shows on Tuesday morning, but it's also airs again on Friday.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hear the Friday show and some hear the Tuesday show. But it's always a great show, and you have some of the best guests. I don't know how. Is it Amber that works helping you to get?
No, we have a gentleman named Kepa who has worked with us. He's his company and beyond. He is one of our members.
Oh, good.
But right now he has been assisting us in addition to being a chamber member. He's been assisting us with a number of programs that help that we can have some part-time work done on them, and so he helps book the guests and reaches out and discusses the storyline and things they want to share.
Amazing show. You have the
we're
best
very blessed.
guests, and it's so informative. You get to hear such an enlightened view from so many people, and you can learn a lot about the business on Maui from that. We've only got like a minute, but I just going back over it, of course, you want to. This is coming up in just a few weeks.
It is coming up in a few weeks, so buy your tickets now. Very simple. Just go to mauichamber.com. You'll find it on our website. Again, open to the public. We want you to come, enjoy, have a great evening, celebrate small businesses, and they deserve our honor and respect. They've been through a lot.
The site to go to, is there a website they should go to?
Yep, mauichamber.com.
Okay. And don't forget, November 1st.
November 1st and 2nd.
It's going to be a great opportunity to support your local businesses and get some great Christmas gifts.
That's right.
And just love it. I love it so much. And I want to thank Gary, and I especially want to thank you. You took the time to come in person, and I always love seeing your smiling face, and I always learn so much from you. So great respect to you, my friend.
Oh, I love you tons. Thanks. Great respect to you, and thank you for inviting me. I always love being on your show.
Thank you.
Thank
Aloha.
You. Aloha.